Okay, here we go. Let's do some news. An unlicensed driver from Guatemala was arrested after a report of erratic driving. First thing out of the get-go, illegal immigrants. Nicholas Rene Morales, 42, of Lady Lake, was driving a red Ford F-150 shortly before midnight Saturday when he was spotted near the Wawa. Who would name the place Wawa? Convenience store on U.S. Highway 27441 at County Road 466 by an officer investigating a report of an erratic driver. The officer watched as the truck failed to come to a complete stop at the stop sign. He admitted he did not have a driver's license issued in the United States. He was arrested and charged with driving without a license and booked at the Lake County Jail. He was released after posting a $500 bond. An intoxicated woman whose license had been suspended due to a previous drunk driving conviction was arrested after driving an uninsured low-speed vehicle at Lake Sumter Landing. I've mentioned this before. I'll just mention it again for those of you that don't live here. These are little things that the average person would not know. I didn't know. Once your license gets suspended for any reason whatsoever, you cannot drive a golf cart here illegally either. They call this a low-speed vehicle. That's because she's probably, I'm guessing here, that's because she's probably on the wrong road. And once you get your golf cart on a road, not a golf cart trail or a place where they have a golf cart trail, now you have to have insurance, license plates, registration, all the stuff that a car would need, wipers, all that. And if you don't, that's what they're going to nail you for. Uninsured vehicle, no license plates, no registration, and you can imagine the fine for that. So don't do it. Don't drive. Once your licenses are suspended, technically, the way I understand it, technically, they can arrest you if you're on an electric bike. That's a motorized vehicle. You ain't allowed to do it. Will they enforce it? You be the judge. Deborah Lynn Wyndham, 61, of Siesta Key, was driving the multi-colored 2003 Yamaha low-speed vehicle shortly before Friday midnight. She failed to come to a complete stop at Old Mill Run and Old Camp Road. That's a common place there for people to run that stop sign. A traffic stop was initiated at Old Mill Run and Sandpiper Way. The former Lakeside Landing resident, who was sentenced last year after drinking at Garvino's in Lake Sumter Landing, appeared to be intoxicated. She admitted the low-speed vehicle was not registered or insured, as required by Florida law. A check showed her license was suspended. Michigan Navy told a deputy she was close to getting her license back. Not anymore. She failed to maintain balance during the field sobriety exercises. She provided breath samples that registered .157 and .155. Back you go. The man had been southbound on Buena Vista Boulevard near Bonita Boulevard at 5:45 p.m. Sunday when, for some unknown reason, his vehicle entered into the median and struck a palm tree. I don't mean to laugh at the accident. I'm just laughing at the idea. For some unknown reason, he just ran into a palm tree. Listen, we followed a guy today in a golf cart lane on Hillsborough Trail, where you're sharing the lanes with the car. Sue couldn't get around the guy. He's got a cell phone up here like this doing who knows what, and the golf cart was going back and forth in the lane, out of the lane, in the lane, out of the lane. You got to be careful around here. These people around here has got their head shoved up. They got their head somewhere where they can't think. The driver suffered minor injuries and was transported by ambulance to UF Health, the Villages Hospital, and was ticketed on a charge of careless driving. Wildwood sewage treatment plant currently processes about 1.7 million gallons of wastewater daily, a 16.7% increase from a year ago. Price said the plant was designed to handle 3.5 million gallons a day, but is capable of just 2.8 million due to its inefficiency. What can I tell you? Take some of that tax dollars, that 25% tax dollars, and fix it. Wildwood residents suffering with discolored water will receive a 40% discount on this month's utility bill as the city takes steps to resolve the issue. That's nice. They'll give you back 40 cents of the dollar on something you can't drink or use that you're paying for, but they're going to keep 60 cents of your dollar for selling you something that you can't use. Good. Wonder what dumbass commissioner voted that. Eligible residents live in the older section of the city, roughly between 301 overpass and State Road 44 downtown. Businesses also were affected. Iron residue in older pipes collared the water over the past several weeks after city workers connected the new pipes, which increased the flow and shook loose the deposits. To the editor, I am in agreement with other letter writers who say the plague of free roof scams are hurting those of us who are responsible. I think the concept of homeowners insurance has been confused with home warranty policies that are sold and advertised on television. No, they're not confused. It's been going on for a while around here. They know exactly what they're doing. All of this has been to court, and the judge in Miami told companies that's doing this scam that it's okay for them to do that because there's no law that says you can't go knocking on door looking for work. If your home needs a new roof, HVAC system, or water heater, etc., you are responsible for that. People know that. You don't get to be 70 years old around here, 65 years old around here, and tell me you don't already know this. Letting a shady repairman talk you into defrauding your insurance company is a moral failure on your part. You know, when you're only 5, 6, 7, 8 years from death, you're in that, what I call 10-year countdown. Get to the point you just don't care. You're going to do what you want to do because you say, well, I'll be dead in 10 years. I really don't care. And you start speaking your mind. You start saying what you think, and you don't really care whether people like it or not. I don't know if you can relate to that. I don't know how old you are, but if one is not willing to take on the maintenance costs related to home ownership, rent an apartment and let the landlord do it. Please stop pushing your responsibility on those of us who take on ours on our own. That was sent in by Mariana Springboard, the village of DeLuna. You know, what you're saying is true, but I can tell if you're in DeLuna, you probably haven't been here long enough to know the whole issue here. They're going to the older sections. They're not going to be coming to your section knocking on your door. They're in the older sections up there where the homes are like 20 years old. Those are 3-tab singles up there, and they only have like a 20-year lifespan. These guys know that. So they're going into Springdale, Lynn Haven, all them older areas up there, knocking on the door and saying, hey, we looked at your roof and it's got some damage up there. And they probably do. They wrinkled a little bit. You know, you might see some hairline cracks, things like that. You give us permission to talk to your insurance company, we can probably get you a free roof that'll cost you no more than maybe your deductible. But when you're 75 years old and you're thinking in the future, I may not even be around very long, sure, go ahead. They don't care. So actually, I can kind of understand that frame of mind. Is it right? No, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I can understand. Especially when they have Wildwood commissioners screwing them every time they turn around. $1 for this, $1 for that, always, constantly. And every time they turn around, the district supervisors raise the price of this, raise the price of that. They're just getting kind of just sick of it to the point where I'm going to start getting some of mine. And that's the frame of mind. The Village's original movie theater has officially reached the end of its run. The Rialto Theater at Spanish Springs Town Square, which has been closed for more than 2 years, will no longer be showing movies. Genesis Health Club, which purchased the MVP Athletic Clubs at Spanish Springs at Brownwood in May, has announced it will be moving from La Rihanna building at Spanish Springs to the shuttered movie theater. I believe I talked about that on a video here a while back. I can't remember what it was, but you guys may not saw it. I'm sorry. Patreon. It's probably on Patreon and my YouTube members. I talked about this like a week ago. The Rialto Theater, which originally opened in 1998, closed for a planned renovation December 2019. Within months, the COVID-19 pandemic swept the nation, closing movie theaters from coast to coast. As the pandemic waned and other movie theaters eventually reopened, the Rialto Theater remained closed. Renovation had long halted at the Rialto, fueling rumors of its demise. They're going to revitalize Spanish Springs, so I expect this is just one of the many things to come. Be prepared. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, be prepared. A woman traveling with her son to McDonald's at Colony Plaza in the Villages was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. Virginia Ruth Darling, 29, of Fruitland Park, was driving a red Ford SUV at 9:21 p.m. Sunday westbound on County Road 466A when she drifted over the line several times, according to the arrest report from the Fruitland Park Police Department. The officer attempted to initiate a traffic stop, but Darling kept driving until she reached the restaurant's parking lot, which she entered from the wrong direction. She appeared to be operating the vehicle under the influence. Darling, whose speech was slurred, told the officer she was taking her juvenile son to McDonald's. She participated in field sobriety exercises in a restaurant parking lot, but her poor performance led the officers to conclude she was impaired. She refused to provide breath samples. A woman who had been drinking at a town square in the Villages won't be prosecuted in an alleged altercation. You guys remember this picture, right? We talked about her, I think it was a week ago, where she was arrested. Linda K. Murphy, 73, had been at a town square on September 2nd with a male companion when she had a couple of drinks and became intoxicated and belligerent. After Murphy and her man friend left the square, an altercation ensued, and the Oklahoma native was arrested on a felony charge of battery on a person over the age of 65. I think that's a special law for Florida. I've never heard this law in Indiana or any place else I've ever been. Special laws that have a stiffer penalty if you do anything to a person over the age of 65. I think it's a good law. However, the prosecutor's office announced on Monday that no information will be filed in the case. Murphy's man friend has repeatedly insisted that she didn't do anything wrong. He has insisted the charges be dropped and said he won't testify against her. By the way, beer of the day. My morning coffee. I'm just getting wore out. If I make a bunch of mistakes or whatever, you guys just forgive me. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm just getting wore out. To the editor, I am surprised to offer kudos to Marcia on her recent article published here. After filing her ultra-biased comments criticizing the Republicans and President Trump, she aims her guns at the real problem in our country. All the problems seem to be caused by the Congress and the little empire each member builds for themselves. Why are these members continually being re-elected? Marcia hints it's money, power, and communication in the media. Will this ever stop? I think not, as long as lobbyists and big money buy campaigns. The only real change will come when term limits are imposed and lifetime salaries after serving one term, and all the other self-appointed perks are removed from members. Again, nice article, Marcia. I have bashed your biased writings for over 10 years, and this one time I finally agree with you. That's sent in by Robert Bassey, or Basye, B-A-S-Y-E, from the village of Piedmont. A 75-year-old villager who spent 11 days in jail this month landed back behind bars Wednesday after less than 24 hours of freedom. Catherine Wallace Chandler, who lives in the Quail Ridge Villas in the village of Briar Meadow, was released at 4:45 p.m. Tuesday from the Sumter County Detention Center, where she had been lodged on a probation violation. A representative from the public defender appeared in Sumter County Court on Tuesday asking for his client's freedom. She was sentenced to time served and released from jail. However, the Pennsylvania native was arrested the following morning when she apparently got back behind the wheel of an automobile in defiance of a 6-month suspension of her driver's license. She was booked at 9:49 a.m. Wednesday at the jail. The bond was set at $10,000. Chandler had been sentenced August 23rd to probation after an arrest on a charge of driving under the influence. Part of her sentence required her to complete 3 consecutive weekends with the Sumter County Work Detail Program. However, she failed to show up for the work detail, leading to her September 9 arrest on a probation violation. Chandler's public defender claimed she was incapable of completing the work detail. He also said she was insolvent. There might be more wrong with her than just, driving under the influence. I don't think that when police arrest somebody, they take any of that into consideration. And if they do, I don't know if there's actually a test for it. You know what I mean? Because I've read these reports to you guys before where the same person gets arrested over and over and over and over again, to the point where you got to wonder, does this person possibly have dementia or possibly have Alzheimer's or something wrong where their mind just doesn't remember things? Or I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. A Wisconsin snowbird who drove a golf cart down County Road 466A won an important round in court after her breath test was tossed out in her driving under the influence arrest. Colleen Marie Beardsley, 54, of Franklin, Wisconsin, is set to go to trial on a DUI charge on October the 10th. Her odds of acquittal got a boost on Tuesday when Judge Paul Minatello granted a motion from Beardsley's attorney to suppress her breath test results. Beardsley had several questions for the deputy about Florida law versus Wisconsin law. The motion suggests that the deputy said Wisconsin would suspend Beardsley's license if she refused to provide a breath sample. Wisconsin is not part of the driver's license compact and therefore does not and will not honor a Florida suspension. He added, while the law enforcement officer does not have a duty to explain the law to an accused, they do have a duty to explain the law correctly if they decide to explain the law at all. Residents are expressing a sense of betrayal at the news that the Rialto Theater will be converted to a gym at Spanish Springs Town Square. The end of the Rialto occurs at a time when the village remains tight-lipped about the future of the Barnstorm Theater in Brownwood. Sad to see the Rialto Theater closing. I was hoping they would finish the remodeling. Still hoping they will open the Barnstorm Theater soon. I live south of 44, and I have been going to the Epic Theaters in Claremont recently. They have 16 screens and have comfortable leather recliner seats. They don't seem to have problems getting movies. Maybe the villages should sell their theaters to them. That was sent in by William Parker of the village of Monarch Grove. I don't have no idea what they're going to do. This new family way of doing things is not the way the old family did things. They always kept the residents updated on what we were doing, future plans, things of that. Sometimes they'd even hold a meeting to get your reaction to things. This family, it's a corporation now. They don't care what you really think. They're just going to do what they want to do. They have a plan and they just go with it, period. I don't want to see the Brownwood Theater close either. I love that theater. I think it's the best theater that they've built anywhere for a lot of reasons. Why they decided to put everything around Lake Sumter, that theater's okay, but it's not as good as the Brownwood Theater, seating or anything else for that matter. And as far south as they're going to go, you would think they'd kind of more centrally involved with everything, and I think more centrally, years from now, it's going to be the Brownwood Theater, unless they intend to put one somewhere else. Who knows? They don't say about anything. I got a feeling the Brownwood Theater is going to disappear for a couple of reasons, I think. I'm up around Brownwood quite a bit, but a lot of times I sit and observe. I'm just looking, I'm just watching, I'm just seeing. That's all I'm doing. There's no money in it anymore. I think I talked about this on another video. You know, they got like a 500 seating capacity at a movie, one movie, and you go in there and it's nothing to see 10 people in there. I've been to some movies during the week, there's like nobody in there on new release movies. You're not making any money for the heating, the air conditioning. And when they show a movie, those ain't cheap. You just can't show a new release because you can't go to the dime store and buy a new release and show it at a movie theater. It's a license and all that kind of stuff. And most people now sit at home on their pay-per-view, and for $5, they can order any movie they want and watch it in the convenience of their own home. Now, I'm not making critical comments about anything. I'm just looking at how it is. So as a movie theater owner, you're not making any money in that huge building. Guess what? You move on. You close it, your business, you're out of business, and you move on. So that's what I think. I don't think the Brownwood Theater is going to reopen. I hope it does, but I don't think it is. I think they're going to use it for something else. Maybe a lot of shops. Just think about it, how it's done inside. You go inside, all the movie theaters all down through there can be revamped, redone, and they can be shops in there. Who knows? Maybe they'll put apartments in there. The Brownwood Apartments. Oh, God. God help us. A Village of Sanibel woman has been jailed after violating her probation. Francine Ocello Jackson, 57, was booked without bond Tuesday at the Sumter County Detention Center. Jackson had been arrested last year with methamphetamine tucked into her bra. The Queens, New York native was also driving on a driver's license which had been suspended for failure to pay a traffic fine. That's an update on the story we done a few weeks ago. Here's another update. An arrest report was revealed that a 75-year-old villager drove her Mercedes to a probation office, leading to another trip to jail in less than 24 hours. Catherine Wallace Chandler, who lives in the Quail Ridge Villas in the village of Briar Meadow, was reclassified to no bond status on Thursday at the Sumter County Detention Center. She had originally been booked on a $10,000 bond following her arrest Wednesday on a charge of driving while license suspended. A granddaughter was arrested after a villager found a note in her kitchen threatening harm to her dog in a neighborhood dispute. The woman found the handwritten note on her kitchen counter at her home in the village of San Domingo. The note read, "My grandmother and I moved here in October. Since then, I have noticed your dog has been off leash and doing his business on her lawn. If you don't want him euthanized, do yourself a favor, stay off her lawn. Make no mistake, I love animals. However, it's white trash like you that I won't tolerate. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Practice what you preach." But I will agree on a couple of things she's complaining about. She's just not doing it actually the right way. Dogs off leash is prohibited here. Anytime your pet, that's what your deed restriction says, pet, not dog. People hear what they want to hear. Your pet, that includes your cat, that if you go outside with it, it must be on a leash. If anything happens, it's your fault because you violated deed restrictions. Villagers living on a championship golf course are worried about an expanding sinkhole. The sinkhole has opened up about 100 feet from the 6th green of the Icy Meadows 9 of the Lopez Championship Golf Course. Wednesday, it was the size of a card table. This morning, it was the size of a Greyhound bus and about 6 to 7 feet deep, said Harry Miller of the village of Briar Meadow. He said that a huge area of casual water that had accumulated due to the recent rains has gone down the hole. The golf course remains open and the village's golf division has been mum on the topic. Neighbors are worried about the sinkhole and are fearful it will continue to expand. The sinkhole is located on the championship golf course, which is owned by the developer. Thus, it is on private property. Earlier this month, the Community Development District 4 Board of Supervisors learned it would cost $90,000 to repair a sinkhole, which opened up this summer at the end of the residence driveway in the village of Springdale. Briarwood and Springdale are both located in CDD 4. Two homes in CDD 4 were severely damaged by sinkholes in February 2018. Residents of CDD 4 were hit later that year with a 20% increase in their maintenance assessment to pay for the repairs of the infrastructure around the sinkhole site. Those repairs cost about $1.2 million. Letter to the editor. No matter how much we would like to think otherwise, the Villages is a business corporation. A business. Not our favorite old uncle. That's sent in by Margaret Shark, the Village of Springdale. She's exactly right. Everybody keeps saying the Villages, the Villages. The Villages is the name of a city. It's what it is. The Villages isn't an entity to come around here and wave a magic wand for you to get what you want. It's a business. And the developer has many companies inside that business that does specific things. And that's what it is. She's right. Well, they're speeding over here. The Villages ought to do something about being people over here. The Villages don't make laws. These streets are public streets. Our streets are owned by Sumter County. Some of them there are owned by Lake County or Marion County. That's who owns the streets. That's who you call. Letter to the editor. In response to a recent letter to the editor about rentals in the Villages, again, this isn't a resort for families. Your family needs to split their time visiting grandma. We don't need kids and other people taking advantage of our pleasures. The Villages are for us, not your kids or grandkids. The family pool should be for us residents, not kids. That's sent in by Diana Gizzi, Gizzi, from the village of Monarch Grove. Well, Diana, I agree with some of what you say, but I disagree with most of what you say. This place is made for kids. That's why we have family pools. That's for kids. And then you have adult pools. That's for residents that live here that don't want to be around the kids. I always thought that was a great idea. If I don't want to listen to the screaming and yelling and carrying on because that's what kids do, I go to the adult pool. And that's my biggest gripe with Rohan about our adult pool. I always enjoyed the adult pool. I always thought that was a great idea. That was one of the main reasons why I moved here, was because of the idea of having the pools separated. More than 70 artists will exhibit their work next month at the Visual Arts Association Fall Festival of Art. The event will take place from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, October 8th at the Rohan Recreation Center. Artists will be showing their 2D and 3D work. The public is invited and admission is free. Last year, the VAA celebrated its 25th anniversary of making art in Florida's friendliest hometown. A son has been sentenced in the attack of an elderly mother in the Villages. Scott Robert Kirster, 46, also known as Scott Fudge, was sentenced last week in Marion County to 270 days in jail. after pleading no contest to a charge of battery on a person over the age of 65. He is due for release in December from Marion County Jail. He was given credit for time already served behind bars. He attacked his mother last year after they had dinner at Beef O'Brady's at Mulberry Grove Plaza. The attack allegedly occurred at the Circle K in Mulberry Grove Plaza. The public defender's office has argued that Kirster was not mentally competent to proceed in court. However, it was determined that he is mentally competent. My question is, incompetent or incompetent, why is this guy living here? Why does grandmas and moms just continually do this? He's been in trouble before many times. He's violent, and even if he's not competent, then he should be somewhere that they can properly take care of him, because apparently grandma can't. Water and gasoline were in short supply as a potential hurricane was bearing down on the villages. The Marathon service station at Lake Deaton Plaza was down to one pump by 11 a.m. Sunday. A long circle line formed around a single pump, with each motorist hoping to fill up or top off their gas tank. The clerk at the Marathon station said there was no certainty as to when a tanker might be arriving with more fuel. The Walmart gas station at Sarasota Plaza was completely dry by noon Sunday. A clerk at the station said she was hopeful a refill tanker would be replenishing the fuel supply later in the afternoon. The plentiful supply of fuel stood in market contrast Sunday. Meanwhile, bottled water was in high demand and quickly disappearing from store shelves in the villages. A shady air conditioning repairman has been jailed again for violating his probation. Christopher Michael Romanecco, 45 of Weirsdale, was being held without bond this weekend at the Lake County Jail on multiple violation of his probation. He had been arrested in 2016 on numerous counts of contracting without a license. In some Sumter County cases, Romanecco collected advanced payments from his elderly victims in the amount of $1,300 to $1,700, never returning to perform the agreed upon work. He operated under the names of KTAC Management Incorporated and KT Home Management Incorporated. In 2017, he was placed on probation in order to pay restitution to his victims. However, an arrest warrant was issued after Romanecco failed to pay more than $10,000 in restitution owed to his victims. Oh, I'm shocked. I want you to burn that face, because these people are the ones that go around sometimes and knocking on doors and saying blah, 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 blah. Don't do business with those people. First of all, never, unless they've got a legit business with a building, and you can ask these questions, phone numbers, your address. I want to go inside. I want to go look at the building first. Don't believe anything they tell you, and go. And now, if those people require, say, a 10% down or whatever, you're fine. But if they don't have a building, they don't have an office, and they're knocking on your door, just don't do business with them. I'm telling you, just don't. Attorney General Ashley Moody has activated Florida's price gouging hotline in response to tropical activity near the state. The activation comes following Governor Ron DeSantis' emergency declaration for 24 counties. In areas covered by the state of emergency, Floridians can report instances of severe price increases on essential commodities needed to prepare for the storm. Florida's price gouging law only applies to commodities and services essential for preparing for and recovering from a storm within an area of a declared state of emergency. You can go to the website myfloridalegal.com to report scams and whatever. I don't know how good any of this is. And right away, I got two things. They talk about scams and whatever, and they're protecting you against it and everything. But how many of you get 3-4 different scam calls on your cell phone every single day? It's gotten to the point, Verizon, AT&T, and the rest of you multi-billion-dollar companies that can't do anything about it. It's gotten to the point where nobody answers the phone anymore unless you're on their phone book, so your name comes up, then they'll answer the phone. And I'm the same way. I don't ignore people's calls, but if I don't have you in my phone book and just a number comes up, that's it. I send you to my voicemail. I figure if it's a legit call, you'll leave a message, then I'll call you back if I can, or send you a text or something. But when did we get to this? I'm on the no-call list. I know all you are on the no-call list. I'm on every no-call list there is, and I still get these calls from who knows where they're coming from. India, Bangladesh, I don't know. They can't do anything about it. Isn't that funny? And just like this price gouging thing. I got one I want to report. Home insurance companies that insure your houses. All of a sudden they go from $1,000 a year, roughly, I'm just using these numbers, $1,000 a year to $4,000 a year because they can. Is that price gouging? I think it is. Do something about that. All of you, all you politicians, you put your money where your mouth is. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Every politician, some are better than others. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not throwing them all in one basket. But what I'm saying is most politicians talk a good line, but they have very little action. And that includes the politicians here in the villages. From supervisors up, they talk a good line, but they can't get something done. With a potentially powerful hurricane about to make landfall in the Sunshine State, Floridians have received some sobering news. Residents of Florida now have the highest property insurance rates in the nation. The Insurance Information Institute reports the average premium in Florida is $4,231, nearly triple the U.S. average of $1,500. Many Floridians feel fortunate simply to have coverage on their home. Don't feel that way, because that gives them the potential to raise it even more, because you're saying, well, I guess it's okay. At least I have coverage. I'm sorry. I just grew up to where you fought for what's right, you fought for what was wrong, and you expressed it. Many Floridians feel fortunate to simply have coverage for their home. I constantly read posts on Nextdoor and Facebook from many fellow villagers that have had their property insurance canceled as insurers are fleeing the state. That was brought up by Angela Clark of the village of Caroline. I lived in the village of Caroline. That's where our first house was at. I liked it. Judy Wilson of the village of Hacienda fears Florida will become both unaffordable and uninsurable for those who are looking forward to spending their golden years here. Many elderly will need to move to another state that we can afford to live in. And I agree, because this home insurance thing, I don't really know. Sue's take care of the bills. I don't ask. Sometimes I just simply don't want to know, but I do watch. And I told her years ago before we moved here full time, this place, I've seen this happen before in other places. This place is not going to run me broke. As Ian churns in the tropics and builds strength as it heads for Florida, many of us are double-checking our hurricane kits and plans. Don't forget to include your pets. I failed to bring that up myself, but that's true. Here in the villages, if you don't live here, let me just tell you, and this is probably true everywhere, but I'll just tell you, if you're a pet, if you're a dog, if you're a cat, or whatever you are, and you have an owner here in the villages, you're taken care of. I'm telling you, you're more than taken care of. They treat pets here like children. I kind of make a little fun of it, but hey, it's okay. They're not hurting anybody, and the animals spoiled rotten, but it matters fact. The pet will probably be taken care of before mom worries about the old man. And that's a fact. If you plan to evacuate, take your pets. Remember, it's not safe for you to be there. It's not safe for them either. Evacuation should take place no later than 24 to 48 hours before any storm predicted to come toward your residence makes landfall. Keep your pet inside or in a secure room or crate. Animals have been known to panic to such an extent that they will bolt from the home. Operating a portable generator must be kept in shelter but open air environments. Do not keep pets in a garage with an operating generator. The carbon monoxide fumes are toxic and will potentially kill them. And I would think that's common sense. Picture I'm going to show up here, those are animals during the last hurricane we had. They were given shelter at the village's elementary school of Lady Lake. And as you can see, all the little pets are in their little cages and things, and they got their fresh water, and some of the cages have got their dog food on top of it, so you can put your pet in there. All pets should have more than one form of ID: collar with a personal tag and a county license tag, a microchip, an emergency contact number out of the storm's range in case you are separated, have their current paperwork stored in waterproof bags or storage containers. Advice for newcomers to Florida: update your out-of-state contact information at the microchip company's website. All pets should be current on vaccinations, and needed prescriptions should be filled before the storm arrives. Provide at least a week's supply of water and pet food for each pet, and a 30-day supply of prescription medications. Have a manual can opener if there's no electricity, and a pet first aid kit ready. Good advice. We all care about our little furry friends. That being said, I think that's going to end the news for this month. It's a lot of hurricane preparedness. I got other things I got to do myself. Hopefully we're okay. I'm cutting this news that you see right now. I've been cutting it the last 3 days. Today is, for me, this is the last part of it. Today is Monday. I got to get it edited so I can get it uploaded and scheduled, and I got other things I need to do myself. The hurricane's not here yet. Weather today is actually really nice, but I got things I got to do. WNL, pretty well done. I'm working on a game, some kind of a game. That's it. Everything else is pretty much ready to go. And, I got furniture outside that I want to get brought inside, because when the winds start, you don't want any furniture sitting outside. It'll blow it away. And they become, at that point, they can become an object flying around that could actually injure other people and cause other property damage. You don't want that. So that being said, I'm just going to get out here and say, don't leave your keys in the golf cart.